So don't worry about it. Let it go. Let it go.
I know.
That's why I have extra in the hands, because that will bend over too many times.
That's true.
1, 2, 2, 2.
Okay. Okay. 1, 2, not at all.
Yep. Hey, you're banging your balls together. That's a really good sign of precision. Could you have just done that by choice? Huh? Boom.
Actually, no. I tried.
Yeah. So that's a sign of good fundamentals. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, want to play a critical thinking game? Nope. Nope. Okay. That's fine.
That was good. 3 throws in the right timing. Now I want to mess with you and change hands for the start.
Yep.
Level.
Hello. We're doing like a critical thinking game where people stand on where they agree for whatever claim they pick.
For anyone? Anyone who walks by?
For anyone,
Yep.
yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
What do you do?
Pick a claim or bring your own. These are suggestions. Start on neutral.
Do we have players?
Throw the jugglers off the stage.
A claim?
Yeah,
A
one
claim
of
is
these
anything that you think is
statements.
true, or you could agree or
Sorry.
disagree with.
And we're just going to talk about it?
Yeah, we'll ask you questions, fair questions, to help you critically think about it. We'll try to be neutral, so you don't really know where we stand on it unless you ask. Do you want to do
And
this?
she's going to play, I think, lift. Sure.
This is out of commission. It's like, oh, okay, that's fine.
I just started it.
Okay,
It's a good one that's recent.
The other one's
which one?
Should I make the claim first?
you have to choose a claim.
You said I can make my own.
Yes, you can bring your own, and he'll write it on yellow and stick it up on the board. And she'll probably play with, as long as she can understand the claim. Here's your pin.
I'm going to say the truth of this claim would be radical Islam is the biggest source of Islamophobia.
Radical Islam is the biggest
Source,
cause,
of, or source for Islamophobia. Like reason for.
reason for. Okay.
So this is terrorism.
Huh?
A terrorism conversation about like, is radical Islam the reason why Americans are afraid of Islamic due to terrorism?
No, just radical Islam and its oppressive views in a political way or in the way they control other Islamic people, and the radicals do, creates more Islamophobia through Islamic people themselves directly than non-Islamic people actually can create Islamophobia. So basically, if I was to see somebody be hateful towards Islamic people, that doesn't inspire me to be more Islamophobic than seeing radical Islamic people killing people who don't, for example, wear a hijab. That inspires me to be more.
That's my ball. Come here, please. Thank you.
See, those as well. Maybe that should be a talk.
Is this accurate?
Radical Islam is the biggest cause for Islamophobia. That's beautiful. That's actually such a concise and perfect way.
Great.
Yeah.
I do not think I have enough information on Islam as a whole to be able to stand in with this topic.
You could stay on neutral.
Do you think like saying that would be a protection from you actually causing possible Islamophobia? You're only protecting and sheltering yourself? Or do you really believe that you need to know Islam in order to understand that anything that kills others or oppresses people can be something others can be fearful of? If you were to be threatened with your life, wouldn't that be something that scares you?
I'm too suicidal for that.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is actually the trying to persuade the other person is the one thing we're letting go here.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to look
know
at
the
your
context.
reasons. No, that's fine. And so this is a good example. Thank you for that example. I will be happy to stand in on this one if you want a second player, or we can just
I
do it
don't mind.
onesie.
I don't know the context and rules, whatever.
We're just going to ask you questions
Sure.
about your reasons for that thing. I
Yeah.
think you said several of the reasons in your questions to her. They were
Fairly
implied.
simple. If anything,
Yeah.
was to give you some sort of restriction on your life
Mm-hmm.
that would essentially, if you violate that restriction, it would endanger your life
Mm-hmm.
or harm you in some way. You would fear that which restricts you.
Okay.
Phobia in itself, fear in itself. It's like, for example, there's a
So because it's a threat, you would have fear.
right, like like having stop signs.
Uh-huh.
We stop because we're afraid we're going to get T-boned.
Yeah.
And then also we are afraid that we get a ticket.
Yes.
Right? Now, one is a ticket, it's financial harm. The other one is physical harm. Now, imagine if, for example, there was an entity that said we're going to actually clog you, flog you, whatever, kill you if, for example, X, Y, or Z.
Right,
Now,
right.
if
So
the-
instead of paying a fine, I get caned.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
whatever you get imprisoned, killed for. Now, if those were all in the context of now revolving in the adoption of specifically a religion, or forcing people to adopt certain practices because of a religion, now that's creating the same kind of fear, phobia, etc.,
Mhm.
that you would see when you have just basic rules of safety and things
Okay.
like that.
So given these rules, not rules, sorry, given these reasons, where do you stand on this claim?
How true it is?
Yeah, there's
Does that
agree.
strongly agree? How do I go all the way over
Okay.
there?
You come over to here. That's right.
Yeah,
So you're on strongly agree that radical Islam is
the biggest cause.
the biggest cause or source of
Yeah.
Islamophobia.
The reason is because if anyone else was to stand on that side and say, no, I think other things cause Islamophobia. For example,
Cool, you're getting ahead of my next question.
Yeah.
What would they say?
the other things that cause Islamophobia, which they claim that would be, for example, saying things like, all Islamic people are terrorists
Okay,
in a public forum.
right.
Where then you see other people chanting like, yeah, in agreement, and where other people now are seeing other people are agreeing with that, and now it's
Sure.
causing some sort of collective mindset that all Islamic people are terrorists. That is
Okay.
a statement. That is a statement that creates groupthink.
Okay.
Now,
So
there's a difference between
is there a correct statement that you would rather them say?
there's a difference between groupthink and Islamophobia.
Okay.
When all these people
Does
are just
groupthink lead to Islamophobia if it's about Islam?
we could connect a lot of things. Do
Okay.
the clouds lead to rain? Yes,
Sure,
we
sure.
know that for a fact. But to say that it's a suggestion that things lead to things, causation is not correlation.
Right. Okay.
So we can't say
So I want to
groupthink.
understand
The phobia itself
groupthink
isn't
in
there.
this.
There's phobia of terrorists,
Yes.
but we can now start saying X, Y, and Z are terrorists, and then if other people agree to it, it's groupthink that made them fear. It's groupthink
okay.
phobia, not Islamophobia. That thing that we are all thinking of at the same time, and we have inspired others to think of as well. We are now we are in fear of that because we all have been kind of accepting the ideologies that is around us, versus a government or some sort of Islamic republic, for example, which is now in the news right now. I'm Iranian.
Mm-hmm.
They are forcing people to wear, for example,
hijab?
compulsory hijab, right?
Uh-huh, yeah.
The compulsory hijab, if you were to not wear it correctly, you get literally killed. We see an example of that.
Yeah.
That's not
yeah.
groupthink.
I don't think literally killed was the intent, but it happened that one time, at least.
That may be your own opinion, but yes,
Mhm.
I would say it was the intent. Now, who's
Okay.
right, who's wrong? It begs me to ask why you would even believe it was an intent. It was no intent, other than you want to think the world is a great place.
Oh, I can only answer that. I think most of the time when the morality police hit you up, you get fined and sent to school and not harmed.
Right. Well, neither of us, and I'm going to include myself,
Yeah.
have lived under this Sharia law, and I'm
Right,
assuming
right.
that.
I'm working off of
Right.
reports from
So
people
we
from
have
there.
no claim as to whether intent is there or not.
Right,
Just
right.
to
I can't
bring
tell
it up-
intent. I can only tell like
You brought up intent.
how many times. Okay.
The conversation in your head is your word. Your word, the word you used, brings up some sort of psychological reason for it being used. The idea that whether there was intent or not was irrelevant. You brought
Okay.
it up as a form of, again, feeling safe in that there's something going on there that there shouldn't be a phobia of. Possibly. There is no intent for that. It was an accident. Whereas, if you live there and you lived under this system, you would understand what real Islamophobia is. It is coming from people who actually have rational, validated fear due to what is presented to them through Islam.
Is a phobia equivalent to fear, or is a phobia distinct from fear because phobias are based on something that isn't? Okay, so phobia is synonym of fear.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's literally the definition of the words. They synonyms of each other.
Okay. So fear of Islam comes from the actions of the radicals.
Right. I don't think anyone would be fearing any religion or ideology if there wasn't an imminent danger to it. The people in that context or that belief system. For example, we do not fear.
They wouldn't have fear unless the fear was justified.
Right. Like if we were living in the Roman Catholic European Empire right now, we would be pretty much in fear of the Protestants, for example, because they
Sure.
You know, because there's an imminent threat there, and there's some sort of, you could call that Protestant phobia or whatever. Call it ideological phobia. So I would say
fear of the other side that wants to hurt you.
Yeah. But I mean, in fairness, I want to put this on record that I'm actually extremely liberal my own self.
Mm-hmm.
I would say far left in many of my ideologies, politically, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But in this area, I feel where it's disappointing.
Do you find yourself out of step with people who usually hold your position?
Correct. In many positions, I feel are being completely, not. Sorry, they're not really being represented in what would be classically liberal democratic. It's more our sensitivities that are driving us to kind of always be on the side of what would be considered the little guy or the disadvantaged guy or someone,
I've heard that as a strong liberal value.
We are always looking for the underdog and try to help them.
Mm-hmm.
So then the idea that there's like this context that usually is the radical Islamic,
mm-hmm.
or the person who is being persecuted is the Islamic person, usually in this country. The idea is that
mm-hmm.
we're actually creating Islamophobia. That's untrue. It's not native to us. I don't believe this country, it has the capability inside itself, native, to create such a force of concern or imminent danger for people that they would have Islamophobia. It's happening external to us, and as you get closer to that source,
mm-hmm.
it becomes far more, Islamophobia becomes far more, especially with Islamic people who are clearly demonstrating all around the Middle East and other Islamic countries. So I feel that's why I chose that as a truth. The fear of Islam isn't something that's internally.
So, do these?
Are there any
do these
color
make
for any
sense?
reason?
And this is a reason for. This is a comment on. That's our color code.
Yeah.
That's a reason against.
Yeah. For example, stereotype. Yeah.
Does that make sense to what you were saying?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Can you think of any other reasons for or against that we would want to list?
Like meaning why people would be against this cause?
Yeah.
So
somebody standing over there, an imaginary steel person, what they would say.
So there's a lot of I don't know how to put this in any way, but I'll just say it organically. There's a lot of contributions coming in the form of political and financial contributions.
Okay.
To direct a lot of money and wealth or just any kind of value to this cause of fixing or solving or combating Islamophobia. There are agencies and organizations and nonprofits set up. There's organizational structures in play that would be threatened if the truth, if this thing wasn't the truth. So if, for example, the cause is not external, it's not something that they can actually attract more investment or more donations or something. And like saying we're going to be able to fix it because we have our cause has some sort of pathway to getting it fixed.
Okay.
I'm
a little confused. I'm going to try to play it back and figure out what I got messed up. So
maybe
there's money. Like there's moneyed interests pushing a particular direction on this question. I can't tell which direction they're pushing.
Correct. So no, like I'm going to say, what would be the reason for it being, for another,
Okay, so
like
this is a con?
why they would disagree, why there would be groups that would disagree. Those
Yeah.
groups are financially benefiting off of being the voice.
Hello.
It's my daughter. Off
Hello.
of being a voice for what would be, you know, Islamophobic groups or pro-Islamic groups that would kind of create a voice for what would be the oppressed people that are somehow
Mm-hmm.
dealing with Islamophobia or other issues where they don't really have such a what's the word I want to say? They don't have parity with many other ideologies. I guess like a Christian person or a Jewish person. They feel they haven't been represented well, or are maybe being represented in a wrong or negative way. There are groups that are out there that consistently push the idea that we are going to help so and so other group, and whether it's Islam, whether it's Christianity.
Okay,
whether
so
it's
some people
it
are
doesn't have to
always
be-
trying to influence other people, trying to help them, but maybe it's not always help. Is
Correct.
that what I mean?
It's not exclusive to Islam, but there are groups that
Sure.
help. There are groups that help political and religious ideologies that would be that would be in conflict with this. Because if this were the case, that Islamophobia isn't something that happens natively, it's happening
Yeah.
actually. The root cause of it is outside. It's happening in countries that are free.
What would they say the root cause is?
They really don't have a leg to stand on.
I'm assuming that they would agree that Islamophobia is present.
If they're here,
they
they're
would
not helping
disagree on the
our
cause?
But they're not. There are no real. I'm not talking about the groups that are helping the actual cause. I'm talking about the groups that think that there's some sort of native Islamophobia going on here. The stereotypes, for example.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a group that's moneyed that says Islamophobia is a significant thing. And what did they count as the cause of that Islamophobia?
For the lack of sounding stupid,
You're
I don't
saying
want.
the steel man over there, so it's not you speaking.
Don't touch his stuff. I don't want to sound stupid. It's just that it's hard to kind of pinpoint one group. I don't want to do that either.
That's fine.
However, there are organizations that support ideologies,
Yes.
whether it's political or religious, that end up creating causes and then collecting donations, paying as nonprofits, paying themselves and administrating fees. And
Sure.
all of these are organizations set up for causes
Sure.
to be able to defeat a cause.
Yeah, nonprofit
If-
has to have a cause, no doubt.
If their cause is that, hey,
So people
we
can hear themselves,
are
but-
here to
Do you mind going there
basically
for
on
now?
this side of the
Come back later.
argument.
Uh-huh.
Our cause is on this side of the argument. Then they're gonna be out there voicing their concerns about how Islam is actually being threatened here natively by people here who are Islamophobic, spreading stereotypes, stopping people from having opportunity, having racist views, whatever, sexist views, etc., 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 whatever it is. So it threatens them to say that radical Islam's cause is actually external. It says Islamophobia's cause is based on radical Islam, and it's external to us.
Okay, so I think the difference is not whether they can identify a specific cause, but that they would want to deny that the cause was radical Islam.
Correct. They would
Now I get
deny.
it.
They would deny that radical Islam is the cause.
Yeah,
because-
what is their reason for that?
Because if they changed their position and said, no, the problem is not us rotting from within, it's external to us, there's people who hate us, and etc., etc., then they would actually have to do introverted view of looking at themselves and criticize and do self-criticism.
So
A
if
lot
they
of-
acknowledged that radical Islam was the issue, that would put a forcing function against radical Islam that they wouldn't want to have.
It would be, I'll give you a great correlation
Uh-huh.
or a metaphor. It would be like the Berlin Wall coming down.
Okay.
For example, we're talking about the hijab.
Mhm.
If this thing were to ever be taken away in Iran, for example, right now the women are fighting for no
Yes.
compulsory hijab. If that were to be removed, it's very similar as the Berlin Wall in Germany coming down, where that's like the beginning of all the dominoes falling and the changes that will have to happen.
Okay.
It is a public demonstration of what already we see in many other what would be feared as radical Islam, the Taliban, for example, and
Okay.
ISIS, etc. That would have these head coverings compulsory,
Yeah,
in
compulsory, yeah.
in a public way to show that they have that they have dominance over, for example, women. Now, if that was to be removed, if that was to be changed, we're seeing, that those would be very similar to events like in other areas in Europe, for example, or I believe in it could have been Cuba or Colombia. I'm not sure. It was another time when there was an event that would see a women-led movement, for example, that would be transitioning everything from one specific event, just like the Berlin Wall. It's something that they would have to actually agree with on the other side of the argument.
Yeah.
They can't say, okay, wait, all these people are Islamophobic because there's racism and stereotypes. They'd have to say, look, the real phobia is coming because if that hijab is not on correctly, people are getting killed. And you have to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
You have to say that that's actually wrong. It's not about liberal democracy saying that's wrong. The free world in the West shouldn't be saying it. You, Islamic people, should be saying that it should be a choice. You can't be imposing force on people and then causing fear. You cause fear, and then you say others are creating stereotypes which causes fear. No, the cause of the real big, larger, global scale of fear is coming from compulsory hijab and other things that are coming out of Islam in that way. So that's why you can't, they would be threatened. Their argument would be threatened completely. All the money would stop flowing if they ever agreed or acknowledged that, hey, it's the fish is rotting from the head.
Sure. So I have two last questions.
Yeah.
The same question, polarity, reversed. What could you learn tomorrow, something you don't know today? So this is like you read an article tomorrow and it's compelling. What's in it that makes you more sure that radical Islam is the source?
I read it every minute right now. We're at what is it, 2:15, 2:20 right now, p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right?
Yep. I believe you. I didn't check.
We can go currently right now around the world to Tehran and other cities in Iran and live
middle of the night there,
broadcast, view all the Revolutionary Guards who are flogging, imprisoning, and killing people for literally this thing we're talking about right now.
Okay, so just turn on the news, and the next piece of
social
news moves you
media,
more further.
news, videos, people's accounts firsthand about what's actually happening.
Okay.
So
Good.
Yeah.
Good hypothetical. The other direction. What could you learn to make you believe that there was a competing reason for the Islamophobia?
I don't know what would be more compelling, because if I see phobia as a fear, in my personal view, I would have no fear over someone creating a stereotype and a bunch of people agreeing with it, or someone saying something racist and a bunch of people agreeing with it. Or if there was some kind of financial, detrimental thing that causes societal impact against one group, like that was an Islamic group.
Yep.
Still, I wouldn't fear that. I think that that's maybe unfair, it's a little bit discriminatory, but we don't, in this country at least, unless we see like mass shootings to a scale that it's happening consistently towards just one group, and that's like being pinpoint directed to that group, and that group is literally being subject to imminent fear, imminent danger. I don't think phobia, the word Islamophobia, I don't think that word phobia exists there. It's literally just a bunch of groupthink, people fighting for the little guy, liberal democracy stuff that we always are doing, but it's not a phobia, it's more, we're the good guys, and we just want to be the good guys, so we're going to be the good guys for anyone who feels disadvantaged or under, or not.
So you think they're overreacting?
It's a far reach to call it Islamophobia.
Okay.
To say, okay, because a bunch of people aren't being treated unfairly here, now that's Islamophobia. Or if I say very clearly a compulsory hijab, it literally leads to the death of people, and it should not happen anywhere on earth. It should be choice, it should be only choice. That's not Islamophobia. There's no reason why our politicians can't say that. There's no reason why who's someone I actually support and agree with, Ilhan Omar, can't say that, who wears a hijab. She should be able to clearly, without fear of sounding Islamophobic, say, the Islamic Republic of Iran should not have a compulsory hijab. I wear a hijab, I want to have it, it's my choice.
Sure.
You shouldn't have it. She won't say that, many people won't, because they feel like all these people around them might call her Islamophobic, have some sort of negative connotation to her. That idea is not anything more than a bunch of groupthink, garbage, liberal trash that we shouldn't have.
Okay.
Because it's not phobia, it's just, we're not rooting for the little guy anymore if we say something bad about the little guy doing something bad to themselves.
So you think the groupthink value, or the value of protect the downtrodden, protect the weak, is being overreacted to in this case.
Correct. Because that word in itself, just take it apart. That word phobia is far more actively persecutable than what we're saying it is.
Oh.
We're simply calling Islamophobia anything that just anything that threatens an Islamic person and the way that they live. But no.
Okay.
The word phobia, you have to have an active, imminent danger, fear, some kind of like danger to your body, person, something that you're going to get hurt, killed, imprisoned, something that's going to your freedom taken away.
Okay.
None of that's happening when you're just doing some of the things that people are calling Islamophobia. Islamophobic things are not, but here in this country at
So you
least.
think that the actions don't rise to the level of achieving that label?
Yeah, I know. People aren't
Okay.
scared. If you know Islamic people, especially Islamic people, I know them. I'm very close friends with many of them. My Iranians, we're like 2 feet. A little context. I'm Iranian. I'm Jewish. And I'm born in America, so I got like 1 foot in Iran. 1 foot
I
in
assumed
America.
that because you were here in Yom Kippur and
Yeah.
you got your kids, and I just assumed that you were a Jew.
I'm born here in America, but so I'm an American. I'm a Jewish person. And I'm an Iranian person all at the same time. So this whole conflict is like within me at once.
Yeah, it's totally
I have
within your
friends in all
space.
areas: American friends, Persian friends, Iranian, Muslims, whatever. And so it's like it's really sad to see people who are literally not even at all, in any way, shape, like just understanding of what would be it like, what it would be like living in Sharia law. To claim X, Y, or Z as Islamophobia, just they throw it out there because they're liberals. They say, you know, this is an underdog or someone who's downtrodden, and they're Muslim, and something has happened to them, whether it's a stereotype or some sort of racist event, or whether it's some sort of regulatory body that's created some kind of law or rule that made it hard for Islamic people to, you know, get ahead or do something. Restriction, that's otherwise, it's not phobia. Phobia is like your life is in danger. There's something wrong that's threatening your life, whether your freedom or your body, your person. Islamophobia is in this country is it doesn't come from here. We're talking about people who have radical thoughts that actually hurt others who are not just Islamic but non-Islamic people as well. And so that's why I'm saying radical Islam is the biggest cause for Islamophobia, not stereotypes, not stupid racist stuff that happens. That doesn't cause Islamophobia. It's just, it's more, it's like an irritation more than a phobia.
Yeah.
People are irritated by people being, disgusted towards Islamic people. People are irritated. Islamic people don't like it. I don't like it. I'm a Jew. I don't like people being anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Am I anti-Semitic phobia? Like, am I? Do I have a fear?
Anti-Semite-phobic?
Do I have a fear of someone saying "you dirty Jew"? Blah blah. Go fuck yourself. Excuse me the language. You know, I don't. I have a fear of someone stuffing me in a gas chamber. That's for sure. And
Sure,
those
sure.
and if I
Fear of violence, not fear of words.
So you just throw around Islamophobia for everything. Like, come on, that doesn't make sense. Go stand on that side all you want, but
Yeah.
you should go live in Sharia law for like 5 minutes. See if you could, like, you know,
Indeed.
absorb.
Do you have any questions sorting things that you want on these?
No.
No?
How'd I do?
You were clear, articulate, and said it a lot.
Can I view this? That's something.
Yes.
Yeah. Take. I don't. Is this for a class or is this?
No, this is for your YouTube channel.
Okay, good.
His channel is Cordial Curiosity. Mine is Juggling Lessons.
Thanks.
I don't know which one this one might go on, but we'll work that out.
All right, I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Doing this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully I
Thank
see
you. Would you like a puzzle piece? What
does that do?
It's a stress ball. Which
Sure.
color would you like?
It's an obvious bribe to get you to come back if you're a completionist. You can have one of them.
Well, the only one in the Islamic flag or the Iranian flag is red.
All right.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Actually, sir,
Yes.
I do want to mention
Oh.
that I think that social media has increased deposit reception.
Increase the positive.
Because they talk about like the drugs, they talk about lifestyle, they talk about
Cool.
you can't see their hair, you can't see their hair. They are not my social media manager. Of course, they talk about their
That's
life
charging. That one's continuing to charge.
and new content.
Okay.
We never plugged this in. I guess.
Oh. Whoops. Lasted pretty long considering.